All right, welcome everyone to another stream on the Tone Vays YouTube channel. Let's make sure the audio and the video are working, though I will probably be turning off my camera because I will mostly be on screen share like I usually am. Let's see in the live chat. AV is great. Thanks, Brandon. And Brian. Brian, thanks for watching. One of my moderators. Let's see if anyone else joins. Let me message in my Q&A group that I'm live. I'm live. Feel free to post questions in our Telegram group. Um, yep. If you see any good questions, Sand Snake, welcome. Pedro, I think I've seen you before. Satwise. Hope all is well. Hope it's warm over where you live, because I kind of know where you live. MRI tops, yes. I can't save you guys. I can't save you guys. I really regret going I regret turning my life upside down, attending January 6th to protest for Trump. What a fucking menace Trump is. What a terrible president. I'm gonna come straight out and say it. What a terrible president Trump has been. A complete and utter disaster. I almost want my vote back so I can vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not kidding. It's been that bad. It's actually been that bad. A lot of people don't realize how bad it's been because they're like blind tunnel vision. At least with Kamala being president, we'd be closer to dividing the country into multiple countries. I really thought Trump was going to be different, especially in his second term, and he was going to make up for the mistakes in his first term. And his first term wasn't all that bad. But I thought that in his second term, he would actually do a good job. Instead, what we're getting is it's a combination of Joe Biden and George W. Bush. That is what we have right now in the White House. We have a combination of Bush and Biden. That's how bad it is. Maybe not Biden. True, Bush and Clinton, maybe. Where do we start? I don't know where do we start. We can start anywhere. Let's start with the markets, guys. Let's start with the markets. Let's start with the stupidity that crashed the markets, which of course is Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Twitter crashed the markets, or Truth Social, or what the hell is he posting? I guess it was on Truth Social. I read the post. Where was it? I need to find it. Hold on. I'll find it, don't worry. I can swear it was on X somewhere. I'll find it, I'll find it. Somebody sent it to me. Shit. I thought it was in one of my group chats. I was reading it this morning. Was it not in my off-topic group chat? Like the big post that Trump made about the markets? Can someone resend that to me? I can swear maybe it was you, Brian. I'm not sure. Shit. Where was that post? I'm not on Truth Social. No one is on Truth Social. Oh, maybe it was in my MRI group. One second. Hold on. It might have been there. Shit. I need to find that post that Trump wrote about China and rare earth minerals. I should have had it prepared. I don't know why I don't. This is his full real account, right? I don't know. Have to make sure I know how to spell bipolar properly for the title. Trump Truth Social post China rare earth tariffs. I don't know how to spell tariffs. I don't have a link to the freaking thing. I don't want to pull up any of these articles. Shit, can someone send it to me? I didn't say he was corrupt. Guys, stop making up shit. I never said Trump was corrupt. I just said Trump is a terrible president. What what happened to this post? Somebody tagged me in this, or someone DM'd me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I guess I'll click on one of these articles. Here's what crashed the market. Trump wants to tariff China 100% because he claims that China sent out these letters to countries threatening them about rare earth minerals. Where do I begin? Are we on? Am I on screen share? I'm not on screen share, am I? There you go. So, where's the? I wish somebody would link to the Truth Social post. Google doesn't even recognize Truth Social. So, I don't see it. Uh, no idea. Maybe it's in images? I don't know. Here it is. Is this it? This might be it. Yeah, this is it. Here we go. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna show you guys this. I don't want to click further. Some very strange things are happening in China. They are becoming very hostile. The only one that is hostile is the United States towards China. That's the only country that is hostile in global politics to everyone. It's actually the United States. Not everyone, but most countries, it's the US that is hostile. And sending letters to countries throughout the world that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. This statement alone is pure bullshit and pure garbage. How do we dissect this statement? First of all, first of all, any rare earth metals that are mined in China are up to China to decide what to do with them. The United States and every other country in the world have no fucking say in what China does with rare earths. Later on, Trump literally says America should decide what China does with their rare earth metals, right? He implies this. Um, like he thinks he knows what's best for China, right? And he says China should not be able to control rare earth metals. China can control whatever minerals come out of its country, okay? So on that front alone, this is complete and utter stupidity. Like I'm not sure whose brain is functioning better, Joe Biden's or Donald Trump's right now. Because we know what Joe Biden's problem was. He wasn't there mentally. He didn't exist. But not existing there mentally might actually be better than existing mentally and being a bipolar schizophrenic and doing shit like this. Okay? Um, so China can do whatever the fuck it wants with its own minerals. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I don't understand. I've been saying this for 6 months now. Every time Trump threatens sanctions on China, the markets crash. And for some reason, people like make fun of me of this. Well, now you get it, right? Anyone that was long Bitcoin and got liquidated, I did not get liquidated, by the way, and I am long Bitcoin, but I did not get liquidated because I trade Bitcoin very differently than people that don't understand risk management. Okay, I've been saying this for a long time. If Trump wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and says something stupid, the markets will crash. And the stupidest thing Trump can say is that he's going to sanction China. And every time he's done it, he had to pedal it back with his tail between his legs and say, I was only kidding. We worked out a deal. I honestly, I think Trump is basically lying through his teeth every time he comes back and says, I spoke to China and we worked out a deal. It's more like I spoke to China, they said fuck off, and I had to tell them we're not going to sanction them. And what the fuck do you think is going to happen now? I know, I'm sorry, I'm cursing a little too much. This is really, really stupid. Really stupid. If the United States sanctions China 100%, the only country that gets hurt in this equation is the United States. China now has plenty of partners around the world. You know who one of its new best friends is or about to be? India. And you know why that is? That's because the stupidity of Donald Trump decided to sanction India for buying Russian oil and selling it to Europe, which is something the Biden administration encouraged India to do in order for Europe to get around Russian sanctions that they put on. This is the stupidity of the United States and the United States government, okay? And this stupidity revolves from one insanity to 180-degree opposite insanity every 4 years. And then somehow people think that the Chinese government model or the Russian government model or the UAE government model, where you have one leader for 20 years who has one plan, is somehow inferior to a plan that lasts at the most 4 years. Sorry, at most 8 years, um, usually lately 4 years, and then completely gets flipped on its head where you can't plan for the future at all. Okay? It's complete and utter nonsense. So then, in this ridiculousness that he wrote, he talks about this letter. I don't believe there is a letter. I do not believe this letter exists. Okay? Uh, if there actually was a letter, do you guys really think we wouldn't see it by now? Don't you think if there was an actual letter, the United States or any of its, European lapdogs would not have already shown this letter? Honestly, I think Trump is making this up. And it's not the first time the United States is making shit up that China did or does. Okay? The only one that's hostile is the United States towards China. And the latest in hostility is, um, what do you call it? U.S. Uh, U.S. regime change in Nepal. How do you spell Nepal? I don't think I've ever spelled Nepal before. I have no idea how to spell Nepal. There it is. Okay. And if you want the explanation, if you don't believe that this was an American regime change, what you need to do is actually, I'm just going to go to YouTube. I'm just going to go to Brian Berletic. Well, I'm not looking for it in Russian. You can go to the New Atlas YouTube channel, and Brian Berletic, in one of his recent videos, US shows chaos across Asia as it aims at China from regime change riots to I think it was this video. This is the video where he explained how it was a US backed and US created and US funded regime change in Nepal. And he even went through and showed every current leader of Nepal and their ties to the US government and US aid. I think this is the one about Nepal. So I listen to these. I don't really watch them. I think this is the one about Nepal. Yeah, yeah, it's got to be this one. And so remember the stories? Elon Musk shuts down US aid. Total bullshit. Maybe that's why Elon actually quit. Elon Musk says US aid is beyond repair and is working right. You know how everyone thinks that Elon Musk shut down US aid and all the evil that US aid did? He did nothing of the sort. Here's what Elon Musk actually ended up doing for the US government. He ended up shutting down the transparency of US aid, and now USAID, so USAID was a transparent proxy of the CIA. So instead of the CIA secretly funding regime changes around the world and putting in American sock puppets that would then start wars with their neighbors, uh, USAID did it in the open through Endowment for Democracy and like George Soros Foundation and a bunch of others. But Endowment for Democracy is the biggest offender here. So instead of CIA doing it secretly, USAID through these NGOs were doing it in the open. They were showing you where the money came from. They were naming the people they are educating. They were naming the institutions in foreign countries they were cooperating with. It was all out in the open. And Donald Trump comes in, and apparently he's told by the higher ups or the deep state or whatever, hey, you know what? This looks bad. Why don't we pretend like we are shutting down US aid and one second. Why don't we pretend like we're actually going to shut down US aid? Everyone is going to be happy, but in reality, we're just going to shut down the transparency of US aid. And now the CIA gets to still do regime change, but since there is no more USA transparency, no one is gonna know, and we can do it like we did it back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's basically what happened under Donald Trump. And again, if you want evidence of this, go watch Brian Berletic. As time goes on, the person that has been the most right in geopolitics has been Brian Berletic, even more so than the Duran. I don't want to take away from the Duran. The Duran YouTube is still my number one and favorite geopolitical YouTube channel. This is still number one. But if you guys want to know who has been the one person that has gotten it right in every single global conflict, how the conflict started, what caused the conflict, and where the world is going, no one in the world has been more right than Brian Berletic of the New Atlas. During the Trump election, he was saying how Trump will change nothing Trump will continue to fund Ukraine. He will escalate the war in Ukraine. He will continue to fund Israel. They will escalate in Israel. He was talking about how they're gonna try to create regime change all around the Chinese border with every Asian country, and this is exactly what has been happening. I'm gonna go to Google Maps. And I'm going to show you guys where Nepal is because I'm pretty sure most people do not know where Nepal is. In case anyone's wondering, yes, I am currently in Panama, away from the crazy. I don't know when I'll be back in the US. I think I have to go back for the holidays. But now that I'm talking shit about Trump, let's see if he'll let me back into the country. So Nepal is right here on the border between India and China. And this is literally a show of force by the United States that they can cause trouble for both India and China because India told the United States to fuck off when the United States decided to put tariffs on India. And India said, we're just gonna go to a meeting with China and we're gonna see what China can offer for us. Okay? And so they put in their puppets in Nepal. They already overthrew Bangladesh, again, on India's periphery and somewhat on China's periphery as well. The US has some control of Pakistan. Pakistan is an interesting place. Both China and the United States support Pakistan, even though US pretends to be friends with India. But if India works out a good deal with China, maybe China will back off in back in Pakistan against India, something India needs to resolve with China. Uh, and the United States has completely taken over the Philippines. The Philippines is a United States colony anyway, so it's not surprising that the United States has their puppet in the Philippines, starting shit with China in the South China Sea, causing problems. The United States is turning the Philippines into another Ukraine, just like the United States is turning Taiwan into another Ukraine. Um, the United States is trying to take control of Thailand, also creating problems for China. And the United States has turned Myanmar into a total basket case, again, causing trouble on the Chinese periphery. Every time China tries to help Myanmar to build critical infrastructure like high speed rail or, say, running water, the US has its proxies, has its like Al Qaeda style proxies, like the terrorist proxies, blow up these projects and the Chinese engineers along with it. That's what the United States has been doing in Myanmar because Myanmar has the biggest border with China and they want to cause, the more problems China has with its neighbors, the less China could, uh, manage deals all around the world and become a more useful country to the entire world than the United States. That's basically the plan. That's also the same plan for Russia as well. Cause as much problems on the Russian border as possible. We all know Ukraine. There is a million links in the description talking about Ukraine, but they also did it in Georgia. At the moment, they're doing it in Armenia and Azerbaijan, which is a whole mess that could require its own videos. If you want to know about Armenia and Azerbaijan, please check out the Duran. Brian Berlitic mostly specializes in Asia, in anything Asia. So Brian Berlitic is specialist in anything Asia and the big conflicts. Big conflicts like Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, the big conflicts. And smaller conflicts in Asia. If you are curious about other conflicts around the world, like the Venezuela issue, like the Armenia issue, like the insanity going on in Moldova, if you want to know about this, the Duran is the go-to place like Serbia and Hungary. If you want to know about that kind of, and the UK, if you want to know about that stuff, the UK is the UK and France are like France wants to militarize and start a war with Russia. They can't even form a freaking government, and they're trying to, they want Russia to declare war on Paris. Basically, that's what France wants right now. Meanwhile, um, they can't even find a prime minister. The last one just quit. Okay. Let me look at your live chat a bit. Let me see if there's a question, and then we'll go on with everything else. Okay, I do want to talk about the price of Bitcoin. Let me pull up the price of Bitcoin. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Let me just look at your live chat. China does have near monopoly on rare earth metals. Tough fucking cookies. Too fucking bad. You know what Russia has a monopoly on? Russia has a monopoly on snow. Okay? That's because they are geographically positioned to have a monopoly on snow. Okay? China has a monopoly on rare earth metals. Right. So stop, stop screwing with countries on China's periphery and offer them a deal to buy rare earth metals. Why the fuck would China sell rare earth metals to countries that want to, destroy China? All right, I'm looking at your live chat. No, this is not a basic take. This is a realistic take. This is not retaliatory. Retaliatory. He knows he doesn't control the minerals, but he is trying to exert control. He can try whatever the hell he wants. What he's doing is causing havoc in the markets by being a schizophrenic. Yes, I agree. Trump can tariff, and you can also go and jump off the bridge. Doesn't mean it's a good idea. And the problem is, there is not a single human being or a pet in the Trump administration that can tell Trump that he's a fucking idiot. Because every single person he has put into the administration is a yes man that wants to get on his knees. And I'm not going to say it because then I may actually get my YouTube channel shut down. Okay. Every single person, including Tulsi Gabbard. Yep, I said it. Okay. There is not a single person in Trump's administration that's going to tell him the truth. There's not a single person there that would tell him that he's wrong. There's not a single person there that's going to tell him that what he wants to do is stupid. Everyone is like, Trump says jump, how high? He has not a single voice of reason in his administration. All he hired was yes man. And at first, when he was getting elected, I was very critical of his hires. I thought there were a few hires that would have been good. Tulsi Gabbard was one of them. I think there was one more, maybe two more. I did a whole show, okay? Right, where's my YouTube channel? Here's my YouTube channel. Right here. I did an entire show. This was 9 months ago. I went through every single member of his cabinet and I explained how terrible all of these people are. And even the ones that I thought might be good. Tulsi Gabbard turned out to be another neocon yes woman. Okay. Kash Patel turned out to be a spineless piece of crap that isn't doing shit with the FBI, not investigating any of the Trump shootings, not investigating the Epstein situation, ain't doing shit. Okay, all of them. I always knew Pete Hegseth was a dumb hire, and a bunch of others. I always knew Marco Rubio was a dumb hire. The whole shit with Venezuela is all Marco Rubio. He wants a regime change in Cuba because he's Cuban, and he wants a regime change in Venezuela. Did I vote for Trump? Yes, I voted for Trump. This is why I'm pissed off. I'm not depressed. I'm I literally took the last 6 months off to work on my health and wellness and my sanity. This is like this is like I get 1 hour to curse out Trump for public consumption. This is why I don't stream anymore. I'm enjoying I'm in front of a computer about 2 hours a day. I put on about 10 to 12 pounds of muscle. I'm sleeping 8 hours a day. I never slept more than 6 hours a day. I always thought that sleep was a waste of productive time. That's how I've lived my life since I was about 15 years old. Sleep is a waste of productive time. And in the last 6 months, I educated myself that I'm a complete and utter moron for about 30 years of my life. And sleep is probably the most important thing you can do in your life other than not eat garbage down. Don't stuff garbage down your throat. So the greatest thing you can do for your health is not eat garbage. I don't even care what diet you're on. I mean, I kind of care. Vegans are a little crazy. The greatest thing you can do for your health is stop eating garbage. Garbage is processed foods, seed oils, sugar. That's garbage. Anything full of sugar, garbage. Anything with seed oils, garbage. Anything with ingredients you can't pronounce, garbage. The greatest thing you can do for your health is don't eat garbage. The second greatest thing you can do for your health is sleep more than 7 hours a day. Like actual sleep, not in bed, not resting, actual sleep. More than 7 hours a day, ideally 8 hours. If you're sleeping less than 7 hours a day, you're basically taking years off your life. I'm making up for all the years I've taken off my life by sleeping less than 6 hours a day and for 10 to 15 years, thinking that's better for your life. I've completely changed that around. I've been going to bed like 10 p.m. for the last 3 to 6 months. My social life kind of sucks now, but that's okay. Uh, my body is looking like it's 20 years old again. There has been a few videos now without my shirt, and I did that in 3 months. I haven't worked out in 5 years. I put on 12 pounds of muscle in about 4 months. About 4 months. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm at peace. I'm completely relaxed. This is just you guys are catching me on that. This is like my I do meditation every night now for 10 minutes, but this is my other type of meditation. I get to sit here and curse at Trump, and what a terrible president he is. And I can't believe I voted for him. Sept wise writes, second, Trump is an ass clown that puts Zionist Israel over the US. He is mega, not mega. Yeah, Thomas Massey for president. You know what? I, I'm, I think I'm done voting. If Thomas Massey becomes president, I think he's just gonna be the same. I don't believe it. I give up. I give up. There is no hope for the United States. There is no hope. Maybe Ron Paul. This is the only one I trust is Ron Paul. That's it. Ron Paul. If Thomas Massey gets in there, I don't know. He'll go to Israel and pray at the altar at Israel too. Like I don't believe it. I no longer. I don't even believe in Thomas Massey anymore. I like him, but nope. How else you in the USA get rare earth metals? USA has rare earth metals. They just don't want to mine for them because mining in the USA is expensive. Mining in China is cheap. USA ain't interested in mining for their own rare earth metals. They want to buy them on the cheap from China. Let China destroy its soil, let China destroy its environment, let China destroy its drinking water. US is just not interested in manufacturing rare earth metals. US has them as well. I'm catching up on the live chat. Impose export control on any and all critical software. Good luck. Good luck. China don't need it. Russia don't need it. They'll have their own. It's been widely publicized recently how many awesome deposits of rare earth. Yeah, they go sat-wise. There you go. The United States has plenty of rare earth metals. The problem is you got to pay a person like $50 an hour or something to mine them, where China, it's like $2 an hour. Thanks, PJ, for your super chat. Jerome Powell has been removed. Well, I told you guys Trump was going to fire Jerome Powell. I was saying it during the election. Trump was going to fire Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell didn't want to lower interest rates. He eventually lowered interest rates. He's not lowering interest rates fast enough for Trump's liking, and Trump was going to fire Jerome Powell. I have not said anything about shorting Bitcoin. Again, people just make shit up and post it in the comments. Rick writes, I remember a few years ago when you were championing Trump as possibly the best president in US history of the US. Yes, that is correct. Yes. His first term in office wasn't this bad. It wasn't bad at all. The only thing that I really didn't like about Trump's first term is that um, there were a few bad things, but there were more good things than bad things. The stupidity of Trump's first term, he pulled the US out of the arms treaty. He armed the Ukrainians, leading to this war with Russia. And so he did a few stupid things in his first term, but in his second term, I regret voting for him. What do you want me to say? What else do you want me to say? Should have voted for Kamala Harris. At least then America would be on a faster path to have to split. Maybe I'll have a Florida passport or a Texas passport. That would have sped up the inevitable. If in the United States will break up into multiple countries, it's inevitable. If Kamala Harris was in office right now, that would be sped up. And trust me, Bitcoin would still be at the price it is now. Trump ain't doing shit for Bitcoin. They're not buying any Bitcoin. They can't pass the Bitcoin bills. Mel writes, if you can watch all this happen and still think Trump is your hero, I don't know what to say. Yeah, but Mel, I know you, right? You've always been biased against Trump, so I am taking your comment with a grain of salt. Oh shit, Simply Bitcoin's watching. Hey brother, thanks for joining. Wow, I have a lot of comments here. How many people are actually watching? Wow, 300. All right, let me I don't know if I can read all these comments. Felix writes again, I think US intelligence views the rare earth as a wartime necessity due to them being needed for AI. Again, tough fucking cookies, right? It's a wartime necessity because the United States is the one that starts wars all over the place. Yes, Panama does have a good chance of surviving a nuclear conflict because of the wind patterns. But Panama is like the worst place to be if the disaster cycle is coming. So I don't know how long I'll be living in Panama. Let me see any other comments. I have no opinion on RFK. I don't know what he's done. I don't think RFK's made a difference. Haven't heard anything about RFK. Why are people asking why I eat pork products? I don't have a problem with eating pork. It's not my favorite meat, but I eat pork. What's wrong with eating pork? Why do you eat chicken? Why do you like I would rather eat pork than chicken. Pork is healthier than chicken, in my opinion, especially farm-raised pork. All right, let me just catch up on a live chat, and then I'm gonna pull up Bitcoin. No one in this administration is thinking long term. I don't have a personal trainer. I have a virtual group that has a personal trainer, but I don't have a personal trainer in the gym. No, not live in the gym. I kind of have a personal trainer that I can interact with as part of the group, of like a group chat kind of thing. I can DM him, but I don't have a personal trainer in the gym or on video when I work out. I work out on my own. Sam K, if you believe that some animals are cursed from God, you really need to have a realistic view on religion. I've cut back on my alcohol a lot. I think I've cut back on my alcohol about 70 to 80% of, let's say, this year I'm drinking about 70 to 80% less than I drank last year. Now, some doctors will still consider this, alcoholic level, but I'm down about 70 to 80% on my alcohol intake. I read your comment, Pedro, more of like is there another path to try and win this war? It doesn't have to be a war. The US is making it a war because the US has this mentality that they have to be the only superpower in the world. They can't share this planet with other countries that could be on equal footing. And you guys know what happens to bullies, right? Eventually, there is a bigger bully in the ring. Eventually, there's a bigger, better, faster boxer or MMA fighter because sooner or later, you are going to get old and a younger, better fighter will take your place. And this is what's happening to the US right now. And instead of cooperating with other countries that are going to surpass the US, so all of these countries could be on equal footing. There's only four countries really: um, United States, China, Russia, and eventually India. And if the United States is able to cooperate with all of them, the US may still be in first place, China would be in second place. Currently, Russia is in third, India in fourth, but India would be able to surpass Russia eventually because of its population. But the US doesn't want to play friend game. They want to play how do we destroy China from becoming a superpower on equal footing, and instead the United States is going to destroy itself. That is what's happening right now. That's the big picture. Trump is playing right into this picture. Yeah, I gotta deal with the whole core versus knots thing. I've been chatting with Adam back. I need to get him on the show. Someone is saying, was the Trump news really that bad to nuke Bitcoin down to 102? Yes. Uh, did it really go to 102? I thought it only went to 108. What was the low? Oh yeah, the low was 105 on the index. Some exchanges might have hit 102. The news was that bad because the dumping takes place in other places as well, right? This is what people continue to not understand. This happened. IBIT trades like stocks. When people sell IBIT has to dump Bitcoin on the exchange. And this is why I keep saying the next bear market is going to be worse than the last bear market. Because in the next bear market, this massive 800,000 Bitcoin that is currently held by IBIT, this 1.3 million Bitcoin that is being held by all the ETFs, all of these ETFs might sell half of this Bitcoin in a bear market. They will bring the price up, but they will also take the price down. So if IBIT sells 10 to 20,000 Bitcoin in one day, this is what's going to happen to Bitcoin. And people that hold IBIT are the same people that are holding the S&P 500. And there you go. S&P 500 begins to crash. What time did we begin to crash? Like Trump couldn't even wait till Saturday to put the news out, right? Trump puts the news out. Here's your 10 a.m. reversal, people. There it is, right there, 10:50, a little bit later. There's your 10 a.m. reversal, right? Trump puts the news out. I gotta check what time he actually put it out. I'm sure it was right here. Okay. And all the risk on market crashes. People sell stocks. IBIT is a stock. IBIT sells the Bitcoin, Bitcoin starts to crash, Bitcoin starts to liquidate, more people panic, more people sell Bitcoin. This is literally how markets function in panics. And there you go. Bitcoin is not immune to this. Gold held up well, but not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is too correlated to the stock market. When the stock market crashes, so will Bitcoin, and you saw it. And the catalyst for that was Trump. Now, the MRI did a great job. The MRI called the top in Bitcoin. Obviously, anyone that watches the Financial Summit YouTube channel would have known to be careful when the MRI top came in. Now, I thought that we can rebound from right from 120. I even said, hey, that's a good place to buy the dip because you know exactly where your stop loss is. So anyone that bought the 120 dip and was watching it go back to 122, you should have had a stop loss below the 120 dip. Yes, you would lose money on the trade, but you're not gonna, lose your house. So on a short-term basis, where would I have been buying the dip? I would have been buying the dip right here off of this rebound. So let's say I buy Bitcoin in the right here. Let's say I'm late to the party. Let's say I buy Bitcoin at 121 and a half. Okay. Obviously, the dip buy is 120, like I said on my video. But let's say I'm late. Let's say I missed it. Let's say I'm entering long at 121 and a half. Where is my stop loss? My stop loss is right here. My stop loss is below the low. In fact, I might even raise that stop loss because right here, when we break out, I'm expecting us to go to new high. So right here at the top, I'm not expecting us to go back down. So I can safely raise that stop loss, not to the swing low, but to the secondary low, which is 120, 121. So anything below 121 is now a stop loss. And that's where you get out. Yes, if you got in at 121 and a half, you're losing money getting out at 120. But it's better than sitting on Bitcoin right now, isn't it? Do I think this is the low? I actually do. I think Trump is going to pedal this back like he always does. Um, and I think the flash crash has wiped out so many longs that now it can nicely go up and a lot less people get to profit from the rise, which is how markets rise. I'm not thinking about the next bear market, guys. I'm still in the bull market phase. Tone, geopolitics was never going to be any different under any president. Under Trump, it's better for social issues. Maybe, maybe. Like men and women's sports. Maybe. Is it really better? Critical race theory. I don't know. I don't know if it's better, right? Maybe it's better that we would go so far to the left and so far to the ridiculousness that again, Texas becomes its own country, Florida becomes its own country, and I would rather be living there where this stuff wouldn't exist. So I don't know if it's better, right? People have been brainwashed to such an extent that all this shit is still going on. Look, I don't know what's going to happen on Monday. I actually think the worst is over. I think the low is in. I'm not expecting lower lows. Uh, but I'm not very confident in my statement. Do I think that Bitcoin is going to test the 50 weekly simple? Is that this? Is that the 50? No, it doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. To me, it feels like the worst is over. Ron Lemo, there is no evidence that China did anything. Have you seen the letter? Trump talked about this letter, this magical letter that China sent to all the countries. Where is the letter? Have you heard China say it? Right? See, this is the problem. The United States government are probably the biggest liars out of all the countries. Okay, I'll put them right up there with North Korea. Did the COVID bullshit not inform you what kind of liar the U.S. federal government is? Or about all the other evil shit that they do, right? Um, so you are making the worst assumption of all. You are assuming that Trump actually said the truth that there was this letter, which may not even exist. No, I'm not living in the States. I just go there in the summertime and visit family on for the holidays. I sleep way better in a bed that isn't inside the United States. I feel way safer in any country around the world, around the United States, than the United States. Uh, the MRI did a great job on the stock market. Look at the MRI on the stock market. I warned everyone, this is the futures market. Here's the cash market on the daily chart. I told everyone, hey, this is not the time to get into the stock market. We have an MRI top. Let's wait for a pullback and then you can get in. I didn't expect this. But we're going to look back at this in like 3 years. We're going to see the MRI on this day. And I'm going to talk about how awesome the MRI was because I'm not going to remember what Trump tweeted on this day. I mean, next year I might remember it. But 5 years from now, am I really going to remember what happened on that day? No. But I will tell you that the MRI called the top. Do you believe some of the big players claiming bought billions in spot Bitcoin during the lows? I I have no idea. I don't know. Lots of spot exchanges froze. Yeah, things don't change. Yeah, maybe he saw the letter in his dreams. I don't know. Look, I'm not saying there is no letter. I'm just saying that if there was a letter, why not show it to the world? If they're sending it to other countries, I'm sure it would be written in English. And there's not going to be any miscommunication, right? It's the Epstein list all over again. I saw the list. You don't need to see the list. I saw the letter. You don't need to see the letter. Trust me, there's no one interesting on the Epstein list. Right. Why on earth would you believe anything that comes out of the mouth of anyone in government or Trump especially? Where do I see a bottom in the S&P? Uh, Probably Monday or Tuesday. I don't think we're gonna go much lower. I think this is it. I think this is it. I'm still bullish on the stock market. I'm still bullish on the stock market, guys. I still think we're going way higher on the stock market. My target for the stock market is still 12,000. That has not changed. The problem that I have is the bipolar schizophrenic in the White House. That's my problem. My views on the stock market has not changed. It just makes it very difficult to trade the markets when you have a bipolar schizophrenic in the White House. We went from an Alzheimer's patient to a schizophrenic bipolar. I can debate which one is better. I can make both arguments. I mean, if the S&P pulls back further on Monday, I still think it's going to make a bottom this week. Monday, Tuesday, I think the worst. I think the worst is kind of behind us. Even if we go a little bit lower, see, going down in an orderly fashion is not as bad as a crash. So even if the market goes down to here, that's not as bad as crashing, 3% or whatever it fell in a matter of hours. That's bad. It doesn't give you a chance to get out and save your capital. The crash is bad, right? Like I would rather have the stock market go down 15, 20% in an orderly fashion than fall 5% in a single day. Because if it falls 5% in a single day, you may not have any more money to trade again. But if the stock market is falling 20% over 3 months, you can manage the situation. It's the crashes that are damaging, not the move to the downside. And Bitcoin is the same way. It's the crashes that are damaging, not a bear market. He literally talked about a letter. I mean, guys, I'm not making this up. Just first sentence in Trump's statement is, I just saw a letter that China is sending to the two countries. And yet, there's no letter. Business Insider reported on it too. Business Insider is a shit publication. Pure garbage. I would not read anything out of Business Insider. Complete trash. All right, guys, I actually got to get going. I didn't even get to talk about the other stuff. I wanted to talk about Venezuela. I think the United States is going to cause a regime change in Venezuela, but I think they will have to do it with the military. I think this is why they awarded the Peace Prize to a Venezuelan opposition leader, and the United States is preparing the US public so that it's okay to send the Navy and other military into Venezuela and try to overthrow Maduro. I'm not going to give my opinion on the situation in this video because I got to get going, but I think that some military action against Venezuela is coming. Okay. Little Marco Rubio wants a regime change in Venezuela so he can put his Latin buddies in there to pillage Venezuelan resources. And of course, they also want a regime change in Cuba because they're still pissed off at what happened in the 1960s when Cuba accepted Russian missiles. And yet, it's totally okay for the US to put missiles in Ukraine that could be nuclear armed that hit Moscow. Again, square that circle for me. The peace deal in Gaza is pure bullshit. That requires its own video. I'm not gonna get into it. And yeah, if you go back to my YouTube channel, I'm just gonna go through my videos. I talked about the Alaska thing, pure garbage. My last video was a health video. You're gonna see a lot more health content on this channel and a lot less geopolitical content in the future. Um, I'm on this geopolitical thing, but it's not doing my mental health any good. I did needed an outlet to just curse out Trump. Do watch the disaster cycle videos. I take this seriously. You don't have to. This was my last video about Israel versus Iran. I think US will attack Iran as well. I think a wider war in the Middle East will break out. We are dealing with I think when Trump leaves office in 2028, he would have been responsible for more military conflicts than any of the prior presidents. This is the rate that he's going. He says he stopped 8 conflicts. He probably stopped 0, but he started at least 6. We can go through them on another video. Russia, Ukraine definitely needs an update. This was my brain scan. I will be, oh, Prospera Zete. Good thing I reminded myself. I will be hosting a nice, relaxing week on the beautiful island of Roatan, Honduras. Uh, here is the options of where you can stay. And join us. I will be there from November 18 to 25, and then I'll shoot probably to the US for Thanksgiving. So you can join us at Bit Chill. There are going to be other events in Roatan as well. I will be involved in those events. We're going to do something in January as well. I don't know if it's on the website yet, but yep, you see me right there. There I am as one of the advisors and guides. I'll be your tour guide. So if you come to Roatan, I will be one of your tour guides in Prospera, Roatan. Absolutely beautiful place. This is where I go diving, right here. Actually, like right here, literally, I go diving here. I've stayed at several villas over here. The big Duna Tower, you see it there in the background. Beautiful, beautiful place. And the poker tournament is back. It will be April 27th. Sign up if you want to play some poker with Tone Vays. You can come and sign up for that. Okay. That's it, guys. I'm gonna get going. If you want to learn about geopolitics, I have, if you click on this video's description, if you click on this video's description, my favorite geopolitical channels are listed right here. Maybe I should change the order a little bit. I do watch Military Summary. It's very important to me what's happening on the ground in Ukraine. The Duran is an incredible resource for global geopolitics. I also watch Russian news. I want to know exactly what they are saying in Russia about the situation with Russia, Ukraine. That is the conflict I'm most invested in, being half Russian, half Ukrainian. And this is in English, by the way. This is Russian news in English. They converted it into English. And the new Atlas, which I talked about earlier, and Judge Napolitano is another very good resource. Check these out. These are all in the current video's description. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. I don't have much else to say other than uh, Richard Hart is now a top criminal wanted by Interpol, which is like the European uh, I a criminal court system. I'm not sure. I gotta look up what it stands for. And here he is, wanted by Finland on financial crimes. I like how he's sandwiched between a dangerous murderer wanted by Sweden, and an attempted murderer wanted by Cyprus. A good location for Richard Hart to be between. Yeah, I was scrolling this for like half a day. Uh, Man, if there was ever a face of a Italian mobster, this is probably probably it right here. Okay. So it was very interesting reading about a lot of these people once someone sent me Richard Hart right here. Oh, and congratulations to Roger Ver for settling with the US government for $48 million. I hope he has $48 million because if he put all of his money into beach trash, he probably doesn't. But I hope he has the $48 million. And this way, it's not fair that personally, I'm with Roger Ver against the US government in this particular case. Any thoughts on Gaza, Tone? Yes, a million thoughts on Gaza, but not right now. I will try to do a whole video on Gaza, and hopefully I don't get Charlie Kirked when I provide my thoughts on Gaza. Thank you so much, guys, and see you all on the next one.